Hey everyone, Grandmaster Ben Finegold. I'm going to try to record a video a day until we open. I don't know, some kind of marathon. I haven't recorded in a while, but if you've gone to my to the St. Louis Chess Club YouTube page, they were putting out a lot of videos the last couple of weeks, probably 5 or 6 in the last like 15 days. I think they're done. Those videos were recorded a long time ago, but they had some issues, which I think they sort of solved. People were complaining about its sound, but I mean, people complain about everything. Okay, I'm going to make 3 videos on a tournament that I played in, I guess 13 days ago. For some reason, I still haven't been paid. So this is a big issue that I have when I play in tournaments, is getting paid right away. And well, when I don't get paid, I don't play in those tournaments anymore, so that's unfortunate. This was the ALOHA tournament, sponsored by ALOHA, except they're not paying the prizes. So I guess I'll have to, if I don't get paid by Monday, I'll probably have to talk to the USCF. And I've talked to the organizer several times, but that hasn't been helpful. So I'm not sure why it takes 2 weeks to get paid, but that was one thing I was worried about. Anyway, supposedly I won money in this tournament, so I'll update you in future videos to let you know if I ever get paid. Let's cross our fingers. Okay, the chess center is going really well. We have new carpet and paint and new sinks, and we ordered tables and chairs, which are arriving at the end of this week. So hopefully we can get some more donations going with these videos I'm going to make every day, because we need some cash to open the chess center, and we're spending a lot. So if you guys like my videos, or even if you don't like them, if you want to support the chess center, atlchessclub.com/donate. Okay, this was round 1 of the ALOHA tournament. I played a player rated 2200, Anthony Parker. In fact, the week before this game, he won a tournament in Atlanta, local tournament, where he got clear first, and I think he won a few $100s. He was sort of on a roll. And I was in a lot of trouble this game, unlike the other games. So let's have a look. I could try to look. Okay, e4, c5, and my opponent played b4. And I think the last time I faced the wing gambit that I remember was in Beal in 1993. And I got a big advantage of that game out of the opening, and then I blundered and lost. I hung a piece at some point in 25, and I was about 200 points higher rated than my opponent. So anyway, when my opponents play offbeat openings, I like to play offbeat responses, so they don't just get a half an hour time advantage and play lots of theory and so forth. So I tried to figure out how to get out of theory as early as possible, and I played b6, which is actually the most common move that's not taking. Obviously taking is best, but okay, my opponent played pretty quickly. He took without thinking and played knight f3. I don't know if he knew b6 or just plays quickly. Either one's possible. And it basically looks like a Sicilian without b pawns, so it's sort of weird. These moves all make sense, I guess. Just random moves. I don't have a lot to say about them. I was taking a lot of time, and I wasn't finding anything good. Probably white's slightly better. And here I got confused, because 2 things happen. Scratch that. 2 things are possible when your opponent makes moves either you didn't look at, or you looked at and thought they were bad. Either they are bad, which hopefully is the case, or you're not playing well, which was the case. In this game, my opponent made several moves I either didn't look at or thought were bad, and the computer says they're all correct. So I guess that explains why I was losing. Okay, he played e5, which I thought was a bad move. It's not, and I played knight g4. And now, after the move h3, I was thinking that both of the moves I was looking at were good, and I had to figure out which was more good, and the engine doesn't agree with me. So one of the lines I looked at was to take this and just be up a pawn, and I thought he doesn't want to be down a pawn, so he'll sacrifice the exchange and force my king, to be sort of silly. And I looked at this for a while, and I thought, well, this is better for black, because I want the exchange. But I don't know. My king's sort of funny. His rook's good. So I like the other variation, and it didn't have these issues that I'm having here, so I did that one. The engine says this is equal, so I'm sort of surprised, but I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. I can't castle, even though you might think I can. I've moved my king a couple times, so I do have some issues. Okay, I didn't choose that. I chose knight h6, and I thought, well, I'm going to play knight f5, and I like my game a lot. And he played a move I saw, but I just thought it was terrible. Played d4, and actually, that's the engine move. I mean, it weakens his knight on c3, his pawns are all hanging. So, yeah, I was like, that's not good. Now, of course, these are the kind of things that, I don't like to say these things, myself, but Yasser says these things a lot. Yasser Sarawan, when he analyzes chess on the internet, he's obviously doing it for you guys. He's not doing it for his fellow grandmasters. So he likes to give general principle explanations, and often, although his explanations are correct, they're not correct tactically. And you can break a lot of rules if you see more tactics than your opponent. And if the tactics work and you win material or you have something else that's good, it doesn't really matter if you're breaking the positional principles. And that's exactly what's going on here. I think White is breaking every positional principle, but the tactics work in his favor, and I thought they were working in my favor. So when you're not playing well and you're not calculating well, you're not thinking well, you just play a lot of bad moves. Fortunately, this didn't happen to me over the length of the tournament, or I wouldn't have won any games. Okay, so I don't want him to play d5, because then that's not good. So I took on d4. I thought about taking with a knight also. He took on h6. And again, I thought if I took the knight on c3 or the bishop on h6, then I'm better. So, yeah. And I think the computer says I'm worse after either move. So, well, my king is in the center. My rooks haven't moved yet. So I guess I should be worse. Okay, I took the bishop because I like bishops. And his knight's hanging. So he moved it. And, well, black's up a pawn. And the e5 pawn is weak. And I have two bishops. And I have an open line to his king. So I thought I was doing great. But my king is so badly placed. And my bishop on e7 is really needed to stop his knight from coming into the f6 and d6 squares. So it's touch and go. It's a tough position. I played rook g8 because I wanted my rook on the open line, and I also wanted to play rook g6, which would defend my h-pawn in case he attacks it, defends the f6 square, and then my king can sort of scoot over if I want. If I don't want, I don't have to. And I want my rook on opposite his king. So. Okay, and he played queen c1, which is a mistake. In fact, when I played rook g8, I was getting really worried about queen d2. And in fact, I don't know why he didn't play queen d2. We didn't talk about it after the game. Queen d2 does the same things as queen c1, except it protects the b4 square, which I could use later. I'm not sure why he played queen c1 instead of queen d2. Okay, so I played rook g6. And now I was really worried about bishop to d3 because he's going to attack my rook by playing knight f6 or knight d6. But instead he did it right away, which is fine. And then he played bishop to d3. So, well, obviously my rook's attacked, but since he's made my queen move to d6 by attacking my queen, my bishop on b7 is no longer protected. And you may remember in the opening, very early, White played rook b1. Well, now his rook b1 is coming into fruition, because after bishop d3, he has a double attack. Okay, and I saw this. And I played knight to d8, which the computer says is correct. I could also play like knight b4, knight a5. I defend my bishop. I threaten bishop f3. Maybe I'll even play rook g2 check. Who knows? Probably not. And when he takes my exchange, I straighten my pawns out. So I have two pawns for the exchange, which I consider to be materially advantageous for the two pawns. And my opponent has two isolated pawns on the queen side. I'm threatening bishop takes f3, destroying his pawn structure. My pawn structure has been straightened out. And I thought I was better. The computer says I'm worse. And I thought he would play knight e5. And then I would have to figure out what to do about my h-pawn. Wasn't sure yet. And he shocked me. He took on h6, and the computer says that's fine. So I just didn't understand this game because I thought this was very good for me. He surprised me again by checking. And my original intention was to play king e7. But, my king's running around, my knight's pinned. So I just decided this ending was really good for black. And again, I'm surprised, and I don't agree. The computer says white has the advantage in this ending, but I don't believe that. He is the worst pawn structure ever, and my pawn structure is great. I don't believe that he's better here. So I thought only I could play for the win. Okay, and these moves make some sense. c3 is interesting because he forces me to do something. The computer doesn't like c3. It says that I should play pawn takes. And I was worried in these positions. I thought, well, I'm either going to queen my c-pawn or win a rook for it, I'm going to lose it. And if I lose it, I'm probably lost. So I just decided to play safe, but the computer wants me to take with the pawn. I took with the rook, and I played king e7, and I thought only I could win here, since I don't see a winning plan for white, and I still don't. But the computer says white's better. So. I had much less time, so I was sort of speeding up by now. I have to save my a-pawn. And the problem is, I think the reason I'm not better, although I'll still take black here against anybody, I think if I try to win, I can lose, and that's what happened. So if I just don't do anything, I don't think there's a problem. But I want to win, and I thought I was better, so I got to do something. Breaking my rule of never do anything. So, okay, these moves are okay. And, yeah, nothing much is happening. And I thought f3 was just a terrible move, not because of my rule, but I thought he's just ruining his pawns. Rook d2. And in this position, king f6 is okay. Okay, didn't really do anything. And then I played the move d5, which is just a terrible move. I totally overlooked what he was going to do. But again, I was trying, I want to win, and his rook on a4 isn't really participating in a meaningful way in the game. He's defending his a-pawn. And I have a passed d-pawn, I have a better pawn structure. His king is in sort of a mating net. His pawn structure is ridiculous. And the computer still prefers white. So I guess I don't understand chess, which isn't really that surprising, I guess. d5 is a terrible move because I'm moving, and I teach my students this, I'm moving a pawn to where it's attacked, which you shouldn't do. His rook is attacking my pawn. Obviously, it's defended, so he has the very nice move f5. And we're in time trouble here. I think maybe he had 6 minutes and I had 3. I'm guessing, but we didn't have much time. And the idea is obviously if I take with the e-pawn, he'll take my d-pawn with check, and I'm obviously worse there. If I take with the g-pawn, then his passed h-pawn is serious. I don't want to have a passed h-pawn. So yeah, I just totally missed f5. I was trying to do stuff, and then I missed what he was going to do. Okay, so I moved my king up, so he couldn't get a passed h-pawn or win my d-pawn. And, yeah, he's just doing great here. And in this position, we're in terrible time trouble here. Yeah, this is where he made his first pretty bad move. He's probably winning if he plays king to g5. It looks like rook g2 is checkmate, but it's not, because he plays rook g4. And obviously, I can't do this because my g-pawn's hanging and my a-pawn's hanging. But my g-pawn is hanging, so I don't want to lose my g-pawn. And my a-pawn's hanging. So, yeah. So he should play king g5, and I think the computer says he's something like plus 2.3. It's not... it makes a lot of sense to me that moving your king up is the right move. I saw king g5, but I didn't realize how bad my position was. I knew d5 was a mistake, because I didn't see f5, but I thought, I went from better to, like, slightly worse. But I actually went from mildly worse to, like, lost. So. Okay, I didn't have enough time to think about it, so it was good. It's good being in time trouble. You can't figure things out. He made a lot of random checks here, which made his position worse. So this is sort of where he lost the game, I guess. He checked me. He checked me again. And, yeah, this position is equal now. And what he has to do is get his king safe. There's a lot of ways to do that. He can move his king, either to h3 or f3, or he could play rook to a3. And maybe there's one or two other moves that are equal. But maybe that's it, actually. I'm not sure. But anyway, he didn't see the threat. I mean, we both had no time here, so we're just playing on increment. And we've already been playing for a long time. We're the last game to finish. He's playing a Grandmaster, and he's been doing well the whole game, so he's probably a little bit nervous because we both have no time left, and there's like 40 people watching our game. I'm used to stuff like that, and I'm used to having these long games where the result is very suspicious. Okay, but he blundered here. He played the move rook on a4 takes a5. He finally took my a-pawn. Also, he's sort of eyeing my other pawns. Unfortunately, that loses. He probably was looking at check since he just checked me. I have rook g2 check, and probably I can pick up his h-pawn, and maybe even his f-pawn, maybe. But his a-pawn's too strong. Of course, I've been trying to checkmate him on the king side very unsuccessfully until now. So pause your video and try to find the winning move for black. Okay, most of you probably found rook to c3, threatening rook g3 mate. Now, when the game ended, this was very strange. Well, I guess it's not too strange. 3 or 4 people separately, without talking to each other, came up to me, just one-on-one, and said, "Why didn't your opponent do this?" So they all saw rook g3 mate, but I'm also threatening another mate, which I guess very few people saw except my opponent and me. I'm threatening knight h6 mate. So people who were watching who didn't see knight h6 mate, which was most of them, they thought, well, I could just play rook a3 here, and then white's fine. And in fact, if I don't play knight h6 mate, that's correct. So they were very confused here when he didn't play rook a3. And in fact, when I told everybody who asked me knight h6 mate, they were like, what? Then like they couldn't see the position. They were like, is that mate? If you see the position, it's obviously mate. Okay, so after rook c3, he can resign, and I relaxed, and he knew what happened, and he just didn't see rook c3. Chess is difficult because you miss one move, and that's, you know, and basically that's why I usually avoid losing to low-rated players, because I don't play very well, as you can tell, but I don't blunder too often. I don't hang mate in 1, I don't hang mate in 2, I don't hang my queen. So if I play my typical bad play, and they play sort of okay, and they have an advantage, I can still win. Because after 3-4 hours, 40, 50, 60 moves, it's hard not to blunder. You got to see everything in every position, and I sort of concentrate on that. D5 was a blunder, but it was, you know, sort of a good blunder. It wasn't allowing mate or anything or hanging material. It was just a stupid move. Okay, so he played rook e6 check, which is the only move that I think stops mate in 1. And then I'm still threatening mate in 1 with rook g3, and you can't. King g5, I still play rook g3 mate. So he checked me a few times, and then he played here, I guess hoping that if I took his rook, it would be stalemate, but I had already seen that idea, and I knew it wasn't stalemate. Of course, if it was stalemate, I could play knight e3 check, or knight h6 check, or move my rook, but I knew it wasn't stalemate. So I took the rook, and he resigned. When I took the rook, he put his hand out, and so I didn't want to agree that it was stalemate. So I looked at him like, why is your hand? He said, I resign. I said, okay. Because he could have thought it was stalemate. That could happen. Even though he can play king g5 and h5, it seems that if you play the move rook a3, you might think rook takes a3 stalemate. So just making sure he didn't think that, because he has 2 legal moves. So that was my first round game against Anthony Parker, who's a 2200 player. And that was a very tough game. I could have drawn. I could have lost. I got lucky at the end. The next couple of games were much easier, which I'll show you in the next couple of videos. Go to atlchessclub.com and visit our website. We have a lot of new features, membership, donations, tournaments. All of our tournaments and classes are listed now under the events tab for the whole year until, I think, January and even beyond. So you can see all the tournaments we're having. We really do need some donations. I am going to make a video every day, so let's see. Let me show you what it's like. You see, take this wallet, and then you open it up, and then you find money. Look at all this money I have. Wow, look at this. Oh, and then you like feed it into your computer somehow, like here. No, and then I get it somehow. I think that's how it works. Yeah. Okay. I would have shown you a credit card, but I've been pre-declined by every major credit card company, so don't have any. All right, so follow me here on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, like, etc., etc. Don't forget to go to our website, atlchessclub.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another game. Bye, everyone.